Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and I like to craft stuff. And we're here with another quilt video. I am using the Encyclopedia of Pieced Quilt Patterns by Barbara Brackman. Mardi has loaned this to me. Thank you so much, Mardi. I believe that this book is out of print at the moment, but I think you can find used copies online, just as like a heads up. So the quilt block I want to do today, block number 1393. This block is known by a couple different names. One is calling it the sailboat block, and it says McKim, and then the other one is called West Wind by Nancy Page. And there may be some other variations of this block later on in the book, but that is the one I am interested in, mainly because it's got two colors and it's half square triangles, and you know I'm a sucker. I'm still kind of a scaredy cat to move away from them. There's so many possibilities. Oh, why do I need to move away from them? I'm not going to, not yet. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna do. And I have pulled fabric from my stash, and both of these were at one point considered for dresses. This one I had cut out. I had bits and pieces of this all over the place, but I had originally got this fabric from Spoonflower a long time ago, and I had cut out the pattern that I wanted for a really beautiful dress, and it was so just like mod, and I was excited because I'm a big girl and it's really hard to find mod stuff that's not polyester. So I got, cotton. Well, this cotton came and it was so stiff, and I washed it and everything, and it did not like loosen, and it was terrible for the dress pattern I had chosen. And I know you're supposed to do a test sample, but I didn't want to. So yeah, I have used it for a previous quilt. I've also used this fabric to reupholster a mod stool that I was given, or sorry, not mod, mid-century stool. The fabric on it was really gross and icky, so I am stoked about that. Maybe I'll show a little clip of it. And then I have this fabric, and I really think these will look cute together. I've done a block with this fabric and a different green very similar. I had been wearing this as a dress, a maxi dress. I love my maxi dresses, and it's just, I like green on me, just not maybe this kind of green. I don't think it was the best looking, and I needed to purge a few dresses in order to make a new dress from fabric that I like. That I think I told you guys about in a previous video. So anyway, this was a purged dress, so now I can use it for a quilt. And yes, I probably have maybe 4.5 yards. I usually do get 5 yards for my maxi dresses. I'm a big girl, and I like my maxi dresses, and I'm not going to be sorry about it. And I like to make them the way that I like to make them. It is what it is. All of that being said, I do have a new way of doing half square triangles that I want to try out. You never know. Like, I like to let the quilts take me where they want to take me. So that's the original plan. We'll see if I stick to it. Join me if you want to. Let's get started. So just so you know, I post every other Tuesday, or try to, but I may be posting more frequently. We'll see. So if you enjoy watching these kind of videos, like and subscribe and all that jazz. The method that I was talking about was specifically 8 at a time, which Mardi showed me. And so I'm cutting out 10-inch squares because that's going to give me 8, I think 5-inch squares, especially since I'm drawing a line down the middle of them. And then for the large center half square triangle, I did I think I cut 8 inches, but if I were to do this again, I would cut 8.5 just so that I had a little bit of extra wiggle room, because the measurements are tight and things get a little wonky because I can't trim down the center block. Once sewn, it wound up being like almost exactly the right size, but you kind of needed it to be perfect, and I'm not a perfect person. So that is just my thing. So here are the 10-inch blocks, and I'm doing a line corner to corner in both directions. And I'm going to do my sewing my half square triangle thing where I'm sewing on either side of that line. But then you cut it up and you actually have smaller half square triangles and a whole bunch of them. And it's a lot faster than the way that I was doing it. Although for this quilt, I calculated the number of blocks wrong. And so I wound up having to go back and do my old half square triangle trick. And I don't trust my like math if I do like, so for the 8-inch squares I wouldn't do like a, what is that, 16-inch block? I don't know about that. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna cut them. What am I doing? Oh, I'm measuring 5 inches in the middle of each side of the square, and then I'm gonna cut down the middle straight rather than from corner to corner, and that gives me those little half square triangles. And then you cut those in half, and there you go. That was a very nice trick. Thank you, Mardi. I think I like this one better than the flying geese because for me it's easier to calculate. I really dislike math. As a quilter, I'm sorry. I dislike math. I don't want to have to think that hard. I just want to create, man. So here I am opening up the squares. I do trim these up a little bit because they're 5 inches and I bring them down to 4 inches. So yes, I do trim them up, and I use my fancy new half square triangle tool, Block Lock. It's got this little divot in it that means that I can line it up into the half square triangle and it's not going to budge, which is so handy because the one that I have budges. I never got around to putting glue sticks on them, hot glue. I didn't do it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll make a video of that someday where I see if that works. Gluing hot glue down the line so that it sticks. I mean, it's a good idea. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I just didn't do it. Here I am ironing. So I did sew 3 for one side of the square and 2 for the top. And then I line them up with the half square triangle to sew them together, just like that. And because things were wonky and I'm measuring here, what I do wind up doing is I trim things at the larger half square triangle to at least have a flat edge, and then I line up the top 2 mini half square triangles to the edge that's closest to the 3 that I'm going to sew in the other direction. Because that way I feel like it's going to be a little bit more lined up properly, and it's easier to trim off the outer edge rather than the center of the block. If that makes any sense. I hope I'm describing that well. Once it got to this part, super fast and easy, and there were a couple of different ways you could line them up too. Once you've gotten to this point. So this was the block that was in the actual book. I had to remember for a second. This is the one that was in the actual book. And then once you have that finished, you can do a couple different directions of lining things up. This way is just the same repeat over and over, which is something I usually like to do. But for this particular pattern, I actually decided to put all of the green plaid in the center for the larger half square triangles, and it gave me this fun little diamond shape, which I've done a quilt pattern close to that before. I just found it to be, I don't know, prettier. I mean, the other way works too. Here I am obviously ironing that out before I sew them together. And you'll see there are some overlaps. I wind up cutting those off. But yeah, I liked the center where it was just like I created a larger block out of that design. I only wound up having 4 of those larger blocks in total. So it was 4 by 4 in of the smaller blocks, I believe. Is that right? So it's just a little lap quilt. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out though. I would do 8.5 so I could trim better. And then in the end, I did add a border and use some of the other blocks that I had created thinking that I would be using them in this pattern and then didn't, as the corner pieces. I thought I was going to have more of the green left over, that I could do a green border outside of that, but I didn't. So this is, I think, not even 50. No, I measured it because I'm going to get it quilted. I have this fleece that is strawberries and gingham, and I think it would be so cute with this. So I'm excited about that. But I think it was, yeah, around 53 by 53 or something like that. So it's a little tiny quilt. I don't mind. I don't mind those. All right. Well, with all of that said, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for all of those who have been joining me for the past year. I recently had like an anniversary, I think, or at least YouTube said it was an anniversary. I feel like I don't know. It might have been an anniversary. So yeah, thank you all so much. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.